And welcome to Overtime, brought to you by KingsCast at www.kingscast.net. I'm Keith Hornelick.
And I'm Chris Kalszewski.
And we are back from Staples Center. Big win over the Minnesota Wild. We are post-trade deadline. KingsCast, we're back in action.
That's right, Kings fans. Lots to talk about. An awesome stretch here for the Kings. Here to talk about the end of the road trip, games against the St. Louis Blues, the Minnesota Wild, the Dallas Stars, the Phoenix Coyotes, and tonight's game against the Minnesota Wild. We'll also do a Who the Hell is Robyn Regehr? We're also going to do a See Ya to Mr. Davis Drewiske.
Because we got to. So here we go. Episode 180, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. Let's do it.
So we're back. The Kings had a pretty critical road trip, a 5-game road trip, really a defining moment in their season. You look at this season, it's so bizarre the way that the game is played out. You have so many of the same teams over and over. I feel like the same week we're playing the same teams. St. Louis Blues at St. Louis. The Kings playing a team that they've really dominated the last year or so. I mean, it's been awesome.
Yeah, nice little 4-2 win there over the St. Louis Blues. Just can't close it out with the Kings. Would love to play you in the playoffs, St. Louis Blues, now with Jay Bouwmeester. But yeah, it was a very interesting road trip. I thought the Kings played well and well enough to win each game. The common thread there, Chris, was the Kings were always out shooting the opponents, keeping the shots against fairly low. But going into some of the other games, against, the Minnesota Wild, where we lost in a shootout, Los Angeles Kings giving up a couple of late goals, and Jonathan Quick giving up 3 straight goals in the shootout. That's something that we want to see. Did pick up another win against the Dallas Stars finally, and then what was it last night? The other night, a 3-1 loss against the Phoenix Coyotes. Brutal game where the Kings outshot the Phoenix Coyotes something like 354-2, but still couldn't figure out a way to get it done. Kings couldn't close. Is the we can't score thing gonna rear its ugly head?
Yeah, that game against the Coyotes especially was frustrating. I mean, it's just like you play a good game, you're on the road. They ended up closing out the road trip 3-1-1, which is very respectable
good
for
record.
A 5-game road trip. I will absolutely take 7 out of 10 points. Any team would. You look at that Wild game too, where it says that you gave it up at the end there with the 2 goals. But coming into tonight.
What's happening, Kings fans? We're back in the state. Minnesota Wild are in town this evening. Just made that trade for Jason Pominville, and we got Robyn Regehr. That's right. I'm calling it Kings 3-2 in the shootout.
Against the Minnesota Wild, I mean, a chance at redemption, and I think they redeemed themselves quite quickly.
Yeah, Minnesota Wild very active at the deadline, moving 2 of their top prospects and a first-round pick and a second-round pick for Jason Pominville. Very good pickup. I mean, I would have liked him on the Los Angeles Kings, but not at that price. Are you freaking kidding me?
No.
But, things started off really well. 2 quick goals in the first period. First one by Justin Williams. Chris, how hot is Justin Williams right now?
About as hot as he could be.
Yeah.
What up, Kings fans? End of the first, and that is how I like to start a game. Quick goals by Williams, who's unstoppable, and Jeff Carter with his 21st. You know what, I'm just going to call it right now. It's going to be a blowout. I'm taking a football score, 7-0 Kings. Book it right now.
Especially going into the second, where he scored another one, his second in the game. I mean, 6 goals in 5 games. The guy has been lights out. I mean, it's been an incredible run for him. You kind of look at the Kings roster, and you look at Kopitar, and you still kind of see, I think Justin Williams now has more goals than Kopitar. I mean, it's a little, Kopitar is just, I love the guy, and we talk about him being a top 10 center in the league, maybe not a top 5, which I think Sutter thinks he is.
No.
But he's not. He still goes on these stretches where he doesn't score. I thought maybe the cup run would solve that, but it didn't. And I think that when it comes to Kopitar, that I think we have what we have with him. I don't expect him to be the 120-point guy that we thought he would be, early in the day, but Justin Williams picking up the slack, Jeff Carter still maintaining that torrid pace.
Yes.
And you saw that again tonight with his 21st goal.
Yeah, it was nice to see Nicholas Backstrom get pulled there for a second. A couple things that I noticed. Robyn Regehr, his first game as a Los Angeles Kings, and there were just some very subtle plays that he made, things that, most people would not notice. And, I mean, that guy is solid. What a perfect pickup for the Los Angeles Kings. We'll talk about him a little bit more in a bit. Kings fans, end of the second period. Kings up 3-0. Justin Williams on fire. It's looking like a guarantee. I'm calling it 4-0 Kings. Empty netter by Ante Kopitar. So, of course, Jonathan Bernier getting the start tonight again. Probably, even in this shortened season, Chris, he's probably played more games than he did last season. Posting up a shutout tonight, 3-0 against the Minnesota Wild. And, how amazing has Jonathan Bernier been? Jonathan Quick, of course, looking a little shaky. And a lot of media members out there, saying, pump the brakes there, Kings fans. But the bottom line is that Jonathan Bernier is playing solid hockey. To me, he's going to look real good at the draft to a lot of teams.
That's right, Kings fans. Game is over. Kings win 3-0. Bernier with the shutout. Another awesome game. I like where the season's going. I think that's... I think we're going to bring this home. I think we're going to wrap it up and get the 5th seed is my guess. Go Kings.
A lot of fans out there are like, why don't we start in Bernier every time now? I mean, he seems to be winning. And I know that we can break this down, at some point to see who's playing who. And
we will.
Quick has obviously played more games, but Jonathan Bernier has played lights out, and I don't know what it is about when Jonathan Bernier is in net because the Kings just seem to score. They seem to be a little bit more together. I mean, maybe it's just a weird coincidence, but, another fantastic game for him tonight, and the Kings bring it together in a huge game, which, Minnesota Wild, it's not far off that we might see them again in the playoffs in the first round.
I think we very well could be. We were talking about the car ride home this evening. There's no way we're going to catch the Anaheim Ducks, so they're going to be the 2nd seed most likely in the conference. I think the Los Angeles Kings we're looking at 4th or 5th. I think we're looking at playing either the Minnesota Wild or the Vancouver Canucks, and I like our chances in either series. But let's talk about the trade deadline just passed. Robyn Regehr went to the Kings for 2 second-round picks, which is the same price that this Pittsburgh Penguins paid for Douglas Murray.
Yep.
Robyn Regehr, obviously a better defenseman. I think a very solid pickup by Dean Lombardi. Would we have liked another scorer on the second line? Yes, we would have. But when you look at what Minnesota paid for Jason Pominville, I mean, God damn it, Chris, I'm so glad we didn't do that.
Yeah, remember those last year, that Pominville for Brown straight up rumors that we heard last year? Yeah, obviously, not going to happen. But, we looked at the trade deadline this year, and we really had to look at defense first. I mean, because defense, obviously, with Green out, Mitchell out for, maybe for his whole career, we had to make a move for a big body, and a player who's really going to hold his own. Obviously, not an offensive guy, but a guy who's going to really make a big difference in front of the Kings net, and you see it already, and you see it throughout his career. He's the perfect guy for Dean Lombardi to pick up. I thought it was great.
And Robyn Regehr, he does a lot of things on the ice that you may not notice. You may not know who Robyn Regehr is, which is why we have a brand new segment for you entitled, Who the Hell is Robyn Regehr?
Regehr was drafted in the first round, 19th overall, and the 1998 draft by the Colorado Avalanche.
Robyn Regehr won the Bill Masterton Trophy at 19 years old after he broke both of his legs in a car accident, and the guy came back 4 months later. That's a tough bastard.
Robyn Regehr is Brazilian, and he's actually a pretty good hockey player. Go figure.
As our friends at the Royal Half pointed out, Robyn Regehr is a mix of Shrek and that bald, ugly dude from the league. And there we have another informative edition of Who the Hell is Robyn Regehr? I have to tell you, Chris, the trade deadline was probably, for me, one of the least exciting trade deadlines that I've been a part of. I mean, I turned on TSN. I was kind of streaming that online while I was at the office. First 3 hours were pretty much BS. And then that last hour, Marian Gaborik to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Wow, Columbus Blue Jackets are finally buyers.
Wow.
Steve Mason to the Philadelphia Flyers. Thank you for trading someone worse than Ilya Bryzgalov. The Pominville trade was pretty crazy, but the Los Angeles Kings did make a move at the trade deadline. They sold Dealer Dean back in action. Davis Drewiske, he's gone to the Montreal Canadiens for a 5th-round pick. So we would like to bring you another important edition of See Ya.
Davis, negative. You didn't play a single game in the Kings Cup run. Positive, you still got your name on the cup anyway. So we got to say, see ya!
Drewiske, when you got traded to the Habs, you got interviewed on TSN. You, TSN! Back at the Kings, you couldn't get interviewed on FSN. So from America to Canada, we got to say, see ya!
Drewiske. Hey, if the whole defenseman thing doesn't work out, I think you can always be a model. Those French-Canadian chicks on Twitter think you're hot, son. So we got to say, see ya!
Davis Drewiske, you're like a poor man's Matt Green and a rich man's Joe Piscula. What? See ya! All right, Kings fans, we're going to be right back at you next week with a brand new episode. Look forward to that. Don't forget to hit up our super cool editor, Nathan Pope Joy.
Pope Joy.
Link it up here on Twitter. Give him a follow, or you're a dick. Don't forget to like the show on YouTube. Subscribe up or down below. I don't even know. I'm Keith Korneluk.
And I'm Chris Kalszewski.
Thanks for watching Overtime by KingsCast.